G'day guys, and today Shorty and I are going to review the game which was between Geelong and North Melbourne. On the Saturday night, it was Geelong home by 31 points and a pretty comprehensive win in the end, mate. Very happy with the way we played. We both made the appearance at the game and you got there just in the nick of time.
Yeah.
How'd we sort of see the game?
Yeah, no, it was a massive win, wasn't it, mate? Played a good brand of footy for the 4 quarters, pretty much.
Yeah, can't argue with that.
Again, our conversion wasn't quite there early, and North was slotting everything, so that made for them leading at half time. But I felt while they got on top in that second term, I still thought our brand of footy and those key areas we looked for were pretty decent.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
And I know at the time you don't really notice who are off for North Melbourne, but obviously in hindsight they had a few injuries and stuff which allowed our midfield in particular to dominate. Of course, everyone said about Dangerfield, but Sal was amazing as well.
100%.
So two combined for just an unbelievable game. And Zach Smith was really good, gave a good contest in there. So we pretty much dominated from there. It started in the middle, and from there we took control of the game and were allowed to lock it in. And they transitioned pretty well at times.
Yeah, they were pretty good, yeah.
Very good on the spread, and they got really good skills. But for the course of a match, I thought we were definitely the better side, and it ended up being that way. And it was a massive win for us. I mean, injuries or not, that was a really big win for the belief and confidence. That's a side that are just travelling really nicely.
On top of the ladder.
Yeah, they've just been meeting the challenge every time, and we play Etihad well, but you could maybe argue North play it better than us.
Yeah, I'd have to side with you.
To win like that was really impressive after we probably had doubts a couple of weeks ago. Then we beat the Giants, which was a good win.
Yeah,
perhaps scrappy.
Yeah.
But Saturday was a real good win. And I felt it was probably led by our senior players and perhaps better players. I still felt the bottom 5 or 6 players, there was a bit of improvement. Not necessarily guys that had bad games, but just, had a pass sort of game.
They go missing kind of thing?
Yeah,
sort of thing.
Yeah, the underbelly was a little poor at times, but our top end was real good. Like, players that played well really made up. They had some of the better games for the season, so...
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's really good. And no Tom Hawkins, and it created a bit of unpredictability. So there you go.
Yeah, I love the fact that he was out and how it would make our forward dynamic work. And I may go on record saying that, we'll be a lot more energetic up forward and, may become a bit more, what's the word, potent.
Yeah.
Potent. So, yeah, kind of happy he was out.
Yeah, it worked nicely on that, David. I mean, you could argue the fact the way we brought it out of the centre that Hawkins could have kicked 5 as well.
Yeah, you said that on the night as well, yeah.
Yeah, I think just finally on that, it is unpredictable, but eventually it becomes predictable. So, I mean, of course Hawkins is going to come back in, but for people who are like, our forward line's better without him, that's not the case. I mean, come September, when you're under the pump and you want to have that target up forward,
the big Hawk.
I'll tell you what, you want Hawkins there. And it was good on this off occasion, and at times it might work well against certain defences, but we're a much better team with him.
Well said, mate. The scoreboard flooded North and have flooded a lot of teams the way they're playing against us. 12 goals too. Just again, teams start missing against us. Don't know why, but that's probably not really what the story's about. But more or less how we played.
Yeah.
But it was a great display, grit and determination, and just led by the centre square work and around the ground stoppages, just absolutely dominating out the middle. Probably helped by Cunnington. I think we saw. Obviously, Swallow got concussed, and Dalcino, I think he was a bit sore as well. So once you get a couple of really top line players going basically out, you're never going to be great in the centre. But probably shows North like a little bit of maybe depth in the centre if those guys go out. But you look back a few weeks ago, Carlton had 2 on the bench, I think, after half time, and I think they had Murphy out. So that's a huge out, and they still managed to win. So I think every game's a little bit different, but that's an example that you can still win even if your chips are down.
Yeah.
It's all about stepping up.
Definitely.
So, we dominated out of the middle and around the ground, plus 14 in clearances, which is brilliant. Maybe even felt like more than that, but the way we're winning them, down to Dangerfield, down to Selwood, and then just a kick inside 50 pretty much straight away. So I was loving that. Ball movement was really good, probably after half time more so when we really got on top. North Melbourne, we were just able to transition a lot better and get the ball forward pretty nicely. and stood up in some key moments. And I've got Shane Kirsten there in brackets, mate. There was a couple of moments he had, and he had didn't have a great first half. He had Nathan Vardy's number. Yeah. Apparently, someone left the jumper at Geelong or something like that. Maybe that may have been the case. And changed it back to 39, and you know what? He's kicking goals, taking big marks, and just really taking the moment, which is what he has to do as a key forward. You'd have to say he's 191 centimetres basically. So yeah, he did really well there, and you know there was a couple of shame moments, but he really got back on top and sort of stood up. Players can really sort of hang their head and think, oh, I'm not in for a good one tonight, and Shane just kept going.
Yeah, no, he was great. I was really,
you liked his game,
especially that second half. You know, we were crying out for someone to just go back and kick the goal.
Just have a shot.
He did miss one easy one, I think, on the run, but you know, to his credit, I think his first 20 minutes of that third quarter was really good. He looked like a guy who said, you know what, I own this forward line. This is my time.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and slot this from 50, and he did. And in the past, he just hasn't quite looked that guy within himself. So hopefully he can build on that. It's a good half, but we need, you know, if he can be that guy when Hawkins is in the side too, all of a sudden,
that's another guy to keep down.
And then you got Menzel,
and then you try and get Kirsten quiet, and all of a sudden Hawkins starts to show his skills in the second half if a scenario like that happens. So very nicely done. Danger and Selwood, amazing. They get their own little point here. Just what do we get? 48 plus 38, so we got 86 disposals between them. So fantastic. And looked a lot better and unpredictable up forward, which is my final point. No Hawkins, obviously, Shorty sort of alluded to. It's not going to be. You eventually do become predictable, and you eventually do need a key post as well.
Yeah.
on top of who you've got already, including Kirsten, and if you want to include Menzel as a key post. But it's really good, and I thought, because Thompson usually gives Hawkins a little bit of a shake-up at times and holds on to him the whole game and doesn't get a free. So those are our key points out of the game. It's probably our second best game of the year in terms of performance. We'll say the first is against the Hawks in round 1. Very happy with it, and couldn't be much happier at the moment.
Yeah, no, it was great, wasn't it? It's really good.
That's it, mate. We'll move on to the votes, and I think the first 2 are pretty easy.
Yeah, I probably personally felt the first 4 were almost clear cut, and I came up with, of course, the 3 votes went to Dangerfield, 48, one of the best games I've ever seen by an individual. It was unbelievable.
Fantastic.
And Selwood was perhaps overshadowed by Dangerfield, but his game was outstanding as well, and the amount of times they teamed up by the handball out of the middle was great.
Yeah, that was awesome to watch.
Yeah, and I gave 1 vote to Menzel. I just thought he was, the difference at times. And when we needed that goal from nothing, or that goal where we just really needed at a certain stage. There's 2 weeks in a row he's done that. I'm spewing he's out for a little bit, but we touched on that in the chopping block. But
cool.
Yeah, and the other guy was Zach Smith. I thought was really impressive. Obviously against Goldstein, who may not be fully fit. We're not too sure, but he's out there. He's still an imposing figure. Big guys don't get any shorter, and he definitely, probably won that battle, you'd almost say. I think Goldstein probably would have won the hit-outs, but around the ground, I think Smith certainly was as good, if not better.
Felt like it was more in the contest. I think Goldie got 9, Smith got around 17 or something like that. And Goldie was running forward at times, so he's not struggling big time, but probably was to some degree.
How'd you see it, mate? Any different there?
No. Danger got 3, 48 disposals, 13 marks. That's impressive. 3 tackles and 2 goals. Just absolute bulldozer out of the middle. Just kicked it forward at will. I think he got plenty of inside 50s, probably about 11 inside 50s, I think, as well, going on that stat. Yeah, just an unbelievable game. Don't know how he wasn't tagged. You would have thought maybe a McMillan or someone may have gone to him.
Anyone just stand near the bike.
Sam Gibson probably is another one, even though he was racking up a few cheaps. It's all right. He did well. 2 to Joel Selwood. He got the 38 touches and 8 marks, 5 tackles. Basically the same as Danger, except he didn't kick goals. So he was just getting in and under packs and just, absolute gem, weapon. He was really good. Stood up well as the captain he is. And the 1 vote to Dan Menzel, 14 touches, 6 marks and 4 goals. Probably should have been 5, but don't know how they overturned it. But look, his presence up forward's just been amazing. And Scotty was saying in the press hour, it's like, about the injury and stuff. It's it's like, yeah, you know, I sometimes keep referring back to what could have been over the last few years, and I kind of, I really feel for him when he says that. It's like, he almost thinks we could have pinched something in between those years. But there you go. Yeah, Menzel, fantastic. Kick goals at crucial times, and as he did last week, as Shorty mentioned. So he's a real figure up there, and hopefully can keep up this kind of form. But a real dampener with an injury. He just the last man that deserves it.
Yeah, disappointing.
We'll move on to your segment, mate, the chopping block.
Yeah.
And you're probably going to be looking at the bottom six, maybe more so than the core senior players.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll start with Menzel, of course. I think he'll have scans and things to really assess what is going on there, but could barely walk after the game.
It's so weird when he went back on.
It's amazing to think he could play out the game to that level and then not be able to walk after the game. It's unbelievable, but I think torn ligaments in the ankle. So
same as
yeah. So I don't even know. You'd imagine minimum 2-3-ish with him.
And they'll be cautious for the extra week on top.
I'm almost just guessing there, but yeah, fingers crossed it's not too bad because he's just starting to play some awesome footy, which is disappointing.
Yeah, and he's one that can win you a final.
Oh yeah,
even more.
Yeah, 100% you can. So Hawkins will come back as well, and you'd probably think they might, with Menzel going out, that might be a straight swap. Whether Stanley did enough. Obviously didn't do enough up forward, but I thought around the ground he was okay.
Yeah, didn't get a lot of the ball actually, but I felt like he went alright.
Yeah, like he sort of had a lot of knock-ons, and he was thereabouts. Yeah, he was okay. But of course Murdoch, I think his time's up. I think I said write him off the other week, and my view on that hasn't changed. He just continually lets you down, and I don't think he's got that hard edge that is necessary at AFL level. And he just doesn't have the weapons. His pace and kicking, he doesn't use enough. He got an opportunity to do it and got ran down. Got an opportunity to kick a goal from 40 on the run, and he misses it. So when you're a bloke trying to make it, they're the ones you just have to make. Every post a winner, and he's not at the moment. He's had plenty of chances.
Can you picture him just taking the game by a scruff of the neck in like VFL or even prior to his AFL days?
Nah,
it's hard to visualise, isn't it?
Yeah,
why they pick him.
Yeah, I mean he's an impact player. He's never going to have 30 touches, and at times he showed promise, but promise only gets you so far, and I think it's gotten him enough.
I think he's had 4 years to show something.
At some stage, potential has to turn in actual product of something, and it isn't yet. So
too late. And
Darcy Lang is another guy who's he's just not quite happening at the moment. I mean,
he's just doing enough as I think you described on the night.
And there's a guy like Gregson in the reserves, which you might, they're very similar players.
Yeah, I'd give Gregson
similar skill sets and size and all that and experience. So they're basically fighting for one spot. So you'd think they may look to give Gregson a shot, with Lang maybe being a bit tired or a bit out of sorts.
Give him a rest, give him a bit of a chop out, and give Gregson a bit of a go. He's a go-getter.
Yeah. So there's not a great deal at VFL level banging on the door to come in.
No, not with all these injuries happening.
Yeah, due to injuries and just due to not lack of depth, but I suppose just where our list is at.
Quality.
There's some guys returning from long term that wouldn't quite be there, and forms like Clark and Vardy, their form isn't quite there yet. Things like that. Holland Smith, Cockatoo. Yeah, but that's a bit of a wrap, mate. I think we'll stay relatively same. Of course, Hawkins will return and Menzel will definitely be out.
Hopefully he's nice and fresh, Tom.
Yeah, hopefully. He'll need to be because, arguably got an even bigger game this week because we had the Giants, we had the Roos. I'd almost argue this is the toughest of the three. The Dogs at Etihad.
Yeah, have to go with you there, yeah.
Just with their form against Port Adelaide, and I think so many people is this notion that they're not the real deal. They're young and they're quick and their game doesn't hold up anywhere.
I think they're very, very close, if not already.
I think they are the real deal. Yeah, I think they are. I think they silenced that over in Adelaide because Port threw a lot at them and they stood up. And I think it's it's time we actually recognise that this team is not a pretender, it's a contender.
Yeah. We'll find out in a week's time, won't we?
We will, mate. We will.
We've got the Dogs at Etihad, and on the next Saturday night, which you'll be going along to. might make an appearance, mate. Who knows? We'll see how we go.
So we go, mate.
So, yeah, huge game. Dogs are the stingiest defence in the AFL. They're conceding the least amount of points, so pretty good raps. They're not conceding a whole lot. They're not giving too much away. And their hands are just the best in the business, mate. They just give those quick hands out of the stoppage and all of a sudden, bang, 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 2, 3, 4 handballs and they're out. And then you've got a quick surge forward, very potent forward line, and it's pretty dangerous up there. A lot of weapons. You got Dixon, you got Redpath, you got Stringer, you got Dalehouse, who is injured. I'm guessing you'd think he'd be out for a few weeks, but they've got some. Toby McLean, if he's playing, so they've got some weapons up there, and if they get first use to the footy, it's going to be one loss in the midfield, as most games are. None more so than this one because they're that good at the contested possession and clearance count. You have to be on top there to put their defence under pressure and to give yourselves a chance and make your chances count because we tend to get a lot of scoring shots but not converting. We're not going to get many chances against the Dogs, or not as many as we have had in the last few weeks. Toughest game of them all. I've been against us lately and been winning, so can I just keep going with that, mate? I do genuinely think the Dogs can beat us. I'm going to go with them by 10 points in this one. But at the same token, I almost wouldn't be surprised if we won. So, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Yourself?
Yeah, there is this train of thought that the Dogs are, flashy and young and Stringer, Bont, they're this...
I'd love to give them a reality check, though.
Yeah, they're this glossy team, but their defence, as you said, is the best in the league, and they are the best contested ball side in the league by a fair margin. So
the best free kick team too.
Yeah, so they do it where it counts.
Yeah.
So we've got to pay our respect to them, and this is as much of a 50-50 game as you could really come up with, I think.
With the form both sides at the moment.
Really hard to even go a tip. I mean, I'm leaning more towards the Geelong camp for the same reason with the North Melbourne game. I think if we play our best footy, it will be good enough.
Yeah.
But I probably feel we're a little more inconsistent than a side like the Dogs. So
it's my
that's a real sitting on the fence answer. If you want to tip, I'll just tip the Cats, but that might change by the end of the week. But we'll just have to wait and see. If the Geelonga came out Saturday night comes to play, then I think we'll win.
Hopefully they do, mate.
Hopefully they do.
Yeah. So those are our thoughts on the review. Geelong and North Melbourne getting home by 31 points. Not a bad win, and we'll take it. And North are slowly getting a reality check. And they've got the Hawks and they've got Adelaide next few weeks. So they're going to just get a few losses on the board, mate.
And I think they've got West Coast in.
West Coast. Yeah. Wow, gee. Yeah, they'll be dropping a few, mate. Dropping like flies. So those are our thoughts there, guys. Feel free to comment. Don't forget to check out darijoe's video, who will have the goals up. And, don't forget to check out our other videos, like the video, subscribe as well for more content. That'd be great. Thanks for hanging around. We'll see you guys all next time.